Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Ben and Sen. My name is Ben, and obviously I'm next with
Sin.
G.
Sorry guys, it was very cold.
Yeah, especially with that freaking hotness.
Yeah, it's very hot. I don't know what is going on with this weather. It's like everyone was praying for the heat, but we all wanted heat, not humidity. Jeez. So today's topic is very serious.
Okay. Oh, okay. The topic is, let me see.
Topics to discuss
Oh.
before marriage. Listen, y'all. Our generation jumps into marriage, and because of that, like 2 years later, some of them even a year later, like
2
everyone
days later.
everyone is getting divorced. It's crazy because there are certain things that couples need to be talking about before they tie the knot, before they jump the broom, before they, lock it down. And and because they're not having these conversations, they feel like they married a stranger, but in reality you married the exact same person you were engaged to. You just didn't determine or find out what you were getting yourself into before you said I do.
Question.
And so these are 8 topics or something like that you
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, 8 topics that you must discuss before getting married. Okay?
Or probably more, but this is the 8th.
Yeah, well, these are like most common, like
That
crucial topics that can really break a relationship. You feel me? So, let's get it started.
I mean, Mr. Ben is always about the money guy.
Yeah.
First one, finances.
Yes.
I mean, you have to discuss the finances.
You have to be able to determine. Okay, here's the way I see it. You know how a lot of people live by the Bible times. They say that the man is the provider. He's the one that has to pay all the bills, and the woman's job is to maintain the household. And that's fine, but in this day and age, women are a lot more independent. They want to be able, men, because of the fact that women are more independent, men now don't want to have to take care of all the bills themselves. They want to be able to go 50-50. Like, you pay the rent, I pay utilities. I pay the bills, you pay for the groceries and cleaning products and stuff like that.
I'll go for that.
You go for what?
You pay for everything, and I just pay for groceries.
No. So, sorry.
You always paying on me, man.
I'm sorry.
Nah, bro. It's not nice.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's very imperative that you guys discuss how your finances are gonna be maintained. Like, is it gonna be? I am a habitual spender, and he knows this. And because of that, I feel like our finance conversation is still in the works. But I don't know, in my opinion, I don't know, it would be more so for you because you're just a saver. So I feel like I'm the spender. You hardly spend, and when you do spend, it's because you really need or really want something. So I feel like if we have issues...
I do spend money.
I didn't say you don't spend.
I spend a lot of money.
I'm saying you spend a bit smarter than I do. And
It's because you...
I'm not, but it's just, I don't know. I never, because growing up, I've never really had someone in my life to just be like, listen, this is how you save money, this is what you do, this is blah, 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 blah. So, my first instinct is always to spend. Help this person, help that person, and do this, do that, do this, do that. And then at the end of the night, I'm like, I could have saved so much money.
That's why you always be like, man, I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's crazy. Anyway.
The way she complains, it's like I spend her money.
I don't know. I can't help it. Something wrong with me, y'all. Something wrong with me.
She was like, I'm broke. I don't know how you spend your money.
The next one, it goes hand in hand with finances. You have to discuss your debt. Listen, debt, credit scores, all that stuff needs to be discussed. Like, you have to understand.
But you didn't ask me for these stuff.
I didn't ask you, but we've talked about it.
Yeah, but I asked you for them, but you didn't ask me.
Yeah, but we've talked about it though. That's all that matters. We talked about it.
Wait,
Like,
did you ask me how much was my fire bill and stuff?
I didn't have to ask you. You chose to tell me. And that's why you started asking about mine.
Damn.
Because you were telling me about yours. So that's how that conversation started. But we had that conversation. And even then, like, I never hid the fact that I had debt from you. Like, it is what it is. A lot of people in America have debt. It's just, it is what it is. You know, so that's something that you have to talk about. You can't hide something like that from your significant other, because at the end of the day, when the surprises come and they start, you know, coming for them checks, start garnishing your checks, and your significant other is like, hey, I need X amount of money, and you're like, well, I don't have it. So it's like, you understand? Debts, finances, those are like real issues in relationships. And
That's why mine is first finance thought.
I feel like that's one of the main reasons couples don't last, because like they find out after they're married that their wife is a habitual shopper, or that the husband is a gambler, and that they spend all their money and all this other stuff, and that they have all this debt that they didn't know existed, and you know, the relationship suffers.
And the third one is criminal history, if they have one.
Yeah, if you have one. Like, I can't tell you enough, like, how crazy it would be for me to marry this man and then find out, like, he had a whole past that I didn't know about. Like, that would be so crazy to me. And honestly, like, you know how I'm not saying it's well, it is kind of prejudice. There are some people who don't want to date someone with a criminal history because of that fear that, like, if you robbed, you'll rob again. Or, like, if you had, like, sex offender charges, like, they'll be afraid of you around their children. Even if they're your children, like, they'll still be afraid. And I feel like in order to ensure that, because it always comes out, like, your criminal history, things like that, they don't stay hidden forever. It comes out. And if it's a surprise, that will definitely put some serious tension on a relationship. And
you know what? I'm about to tell you a surprise.
Surprise.
I got locked up once.
Your lying ass.
Yeah, I spent 3 days in the county jail, bruh.
For
got charged for carrying. I got charged for carrying like an illegal weapon. When the cop got me, he was like, bow, bow.
What was the weapon?
It was a 9mm. I was like 17. I took this shit to school. And somebody snitched on me. And the cop pulled a bullet. Yeah. I did 3 days, bro.
You did 3 days for possession of a weapon. That doesn't even make sense.
Because I was a minor. My dad bailed me out.
You did 3 days in a county jail as a minor, but minors go to juvenile detention.
Yes.
Yeah, this story was a fail. Next one is health history. This is...
Yo, 1 second. I don't know. If I spend 1 day in jail, I'll be fucking die.
Watch your mouth, man.
Nah, I can't, man. Yo, so like you have to wait for somebody to serve you food. And while I'm here, like I drink water when I want to. And then especially now, I want to eat healthier. Right now, I just eat a little fruit and stuff. Right now, I eat little fruit, vegetables.
The next one is health history. This is another one. Like, you have to be
Like me.
open about, like, your sexual status, if you have any type of, like, sexually transmitted diseases, just your health status in general. If something like diabetes, obesity runs in your family or it's hereditary, so that your significant other knows what they're putting at risk if they have kids with you, you know?
Like me, I have asthma, but my asthma is not like really crazy.
Yeah, it's not like asthma that where like his throat will randomly close up. It like your asthma goes hand in hand with allergies because you are allergic to dust and like dirt and dust. So like if he's in an area where like dust and dirt is like spewing, like if you're brooming like a dusty area, like his asthma will start acting up. And
once I take the med,
yeah, like, and he
I
takes,
go to sleep.
Yeah, he doesn't have to take, like, he was never prescribed an inhaler or anything like that. So, I mean, I guess it's just stay the hell away from dust. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't have any allergies. Yeah, like, you have to be open and honest. Like, if you have some type of major disease, like my cousin who has sickle cell, both of her parents had the trait. You couldn't see that they had the trait. Obviously, that's something that they had to discuss as a couple. And unfortunately, because they both had the trait, it was going to happen. One of their children was going to get sickle cell, you know? So you have to be open and honest with your significant other before you marry them about your health history, your sexual history, all that stuff. Put all that stuff, lay it all out on the table so that when they marry you, there are no surprises, you know?
Yep. And
next,
fifth one is children.
Mm-hmm.
Some people want to date, no kids, and we might not have the same idea or we're not in the same path.
Yeah.
So it's best, as Miss Sensei, it's best to say the options before we get too far.
Mm-hmm.
I don't waste your time and you don't waste mine.
Yeah, because for some people, like, if you don't want to have kids, they don't want to be with you because they want children. There are people who want big families. There are people who want small families. And that's another issue. Like, if I only want one kid and he wants 10, like, that's very hard to meet in the middle. Like, you know? So it's like, these are conversations that have to be had. How many children do you want? Do you want children? When do you want to start having children? And things like that. Because children are expensive. And
yeah.
Listen, I have plenty of nieces and nephews to know that children are freaking expensive. Expensive. And even from buying baby shower gifts for expecting mommies, those things are not cheap. Not cheap.
Yeah.
It is expensive, and you have to be like, I'm not mad at a woman who says she doesn't want to have kids. Because it's not easy. It's expensive. It's time consuming. I babysit for 4 hours and I'm done. Like, I'm done. So it's like, I can imagine a woman who has to wake up, eat, sleep, and breathe her children. So that's something you definitely have to talk about before getting married. The next one is goals. You have to discuss goals for the future. Again, I've always said that, well, I haven't always said it, but like, I would really like, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, but I do not want to work for people when I have children. I want to have my own business, make my own hours, and be able to do my own thing so that I can devote myself to my child. I don't want my child to be raised by anyone else. I don't want to feel like I have to have someone consistently watching my child 8 hours a day so I can go work for someone else, you know? So that's why I always said, like, when I have children, I want to be able to do my own thing. And if I never have that conversation with him, let's say I said, when I have kids, I want to be a stay-at-home mom and I don't want to work anymore. If we never have that conversation, he's probably under the impression that by the time I have kids, like, it's going to be the same thing, maternity leave for 3 months, and then it's right back to work. And then when I don't go back to work, he's going to be like, the hell is this?
Are you sick? Are you going
there
out?
are actually men who prefer their wives to be stay-at-home moms, and the wives are not with that. They want to go back to work. They want to be able to do their own thing, make their own money, you know, be their own person. And when you don't have that conversation, that can cause issues, because a woman will feel trapped. A man will feel like everything is on his shoulders, and like, you can lose your clothes.
And some men don't like that. Some men don't like problems. They're like, shit, I can't deal with it.
Yeah, and then that's the thing, like, it's just.
Some men be like, damn, I can't deal with this shit.
Yeah, like you have to be able to discuss your goals. Like, I want to be able to start my business. He has to know that so that he can determine, okay, I'm going to let her start her business on her own. Or as her significant other, I would like to help her start her business, you know? So like if we know each other's goals, we can determine what plans for the future. If I know that he wants to be self-employed and it's going to take him time to get there, we can determine, okay, well, because you have that goal for the future, we can hold off on having kids, you know? So like all of these things, like it's like a ripple effect.
No kids.
What do you mean?
I mean, I want to have a baby, but I'm just waiting for the right time.
Right, of course, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you don't discuss these things, like I could say I want a baby right now, and then he could say I don't want a baby right now, and that can cause us to break up because it's like it starts an argument, we don't agree, and it becomes a deal breaker, you know? So these are things that you have to talk about. Next one.
Leaving situation.
Yes, that's another one.
Like how?
Okay. I didn't always say. Why do I keep saying always? I said after I was married and I wanted to have children that I would like to move far away. Like Canada or West Coast. Like I wanted to go. And he told me the tri-state area is all he knows.
Nah.
And he has no intentions of leaving the tri-state area. Had it been a situation where I felt like I don't want to compromise that, I'm going, that's an issue in our relationship that could cause us to not move forward, you know? Like you have to be able to discuss, like when we're married, where are we going to live? What are we going to do? Are we moving into your place? Are we moving into my place? Are we going to get a new place? Like what are we going to do? What is our situation? How do we intend to sustain a future together in terms of our living situation, you know?
Right, even my city right now, my city is terrible, but I don't see me leaving it. The reason why I agreed because of my kids.
Yeah, I can't. Well, see, that's the thing. Like, he doesn't see himself leaving. I don't see myself staying. Like, I'm not used to this. I don't like it at all. And that's why I'm saying, you know, like, I can put up with it for now, but long term, I can't do this.
But that's why I agree. When once we have kids and you say, like, let's go, now I'd be like,
yeah, and I had to compromise. I wanted to leave the country, and I said, you know, I love you enough that I'm willing to stay in the tri-state area. Yeah. I guess. But yeah, and the last one is deal breakers. Listen, that is literally, that one is all of the above and more. Like, there are so many things that can be deal breakers in a relationship that will cause hell. If you know that you're the type of person that is not willing to change who you are for who you're with, that needs to be very clear so that this person knows, okay, this man doesn't intend to change this bad habit, and I have to determine if I'm willing to spend the rest of my life dealing with that. If I'm not, I'm out the door. But if I'm willing to deal with that, then I'm staying, you know? Another thing is children, deal breakers. For if a woman wants to have doesn't want to have children and the man does, that's a deal breaker, and that's enough for them to not want to get married. Living situation, deal breaker. Not communicating finances properly or hidden debt, all that stuff, deal breaker. There are so many deal breakers that exist that can cause people to not, you know, last in a marriage, and you have to be able to discuss that. One of our major issues that we always deal with is communication. He is very he hates this topic. He is very independent and do his own thing, and he's very quiet. I am the exact opposite.
Exact.
Literally, I talk a lot, and I know that. I'm well aware that I talk a lot. And when we have issues, I want to sit down and talk about it, whereas he just wants to be left alone for a little bit and just deal with it later, whereas I want to deal with it right then, right now. And we're very different in that aspect. Another thing, like, he likes to have his alone time and do his own thing and be alone, where, like, if I'm going out, I prefer for him to be with me, like, everywhere I go. And when he says I don't want to go or I'm staying home, I'm like, why? Like, I genuinely get upset. But it's something
and on top of that, I hate being questioned.
Yeah, he hates being questioned, and I'm always asking him, where you at, what you doing, who you with, who you talking to, who that is. So it's like, you know, that in itself can be a deal breaker. I honestly feel like if I could deal with it for this long, then I'm pretty sure I could just suck it up and deal with it. But I feel like it's not a problem enough for me to want to leave. Like, do you feel like the issues that we have are problems enough, like, strong enough for you to want to leave?
Nah, even though most of the time it's because, I don't know, because of the mindset that I have. But
yeah, we just have different mindsets, and we have to learn to compromise. That's all. I feel like I compromise a little bit more than he does.
No comments on that.
Yeah. I mean, we both compromise, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like you're very, like, stuck in your ways. So it's very hard for you to change. So even though you say you'll work on it, like, I feel like it takes time for you to get it takes time for you to actually get.
I told
to the
you,
point.
she's stuck too much. She always got something to say.
Well, that's everything. These are topics that you have to talk about before you decide to tie the knot, because if you don't have these conversations and you guys find out later on down the line that you're not on the same page, that's enough to lead to divorce. And I feel like that the lack of these conversations is the reason why the divorce rate is so high. You know, like, people get married and they change, or people get married and they realize it's the same person that they always were, but they just never talked about it.
One more thing. I don't know, a lot of people, like me, I really do not believe on title. I
You
don't.
know, at first, he told me that he doesn't want to get married.
I don't believe in title. Like, when we get married, it's still gonna be the same love. It's still gonna be the same. That's why people confusing. If you get married, you telling me go do this instead of asking me now. This gonna be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I always even told my supervisor. Sometimes I just respect the title, but I don't respect you.
And I feel like, honestly, it reached a point where, well, I don't know what changed your mind and caused you to decide that you wanted to get married. Because when he said that, I did tell him, you know, that's a deal breaker, because I don't want to spend the rest of my life as a girlfriend. Like, I want to be able to say, this is my husband. I feel like if I'm with you for a long time, I earned that upgrade. And I feel totally different. He doesn't believe in titles. I feel like titles are very important. You work for it, it's who you are, and you deserve your title. Just like if you're in a competition and you worked your butt off to train for that competition and you win first place, you earned it. So you deserve that title, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's even, no, let's just try to wrap this up.
Why?
Even the same thing with my kids. I don't want my kids to call me dad.
Yeah, this man said you don't want his
name.
kids to call him dad. What type of shit?
That's what I don't believe on title.
I pushed you. I am mommy.
They can call
Mama,
me
Mom.
They'll go just call me like Buddy, Ben.
Buddy?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, they
Well, you
gonna
see,
be my niggas.
With that being said, we ask that you like, comment, subscribe, smash that notification bell so that you guys are notified when we post again.
Oh, I'm more focused on the.
No, do it again. We're not gonna deal with this.
One,
It's either you do 1, 2.
Sorry, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.